Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you to this lesson and a good morning to everybody. We are going to look at a continuation on fabric decoration. The other time, my colleague, Mr. Steven Meneho, handled the lesson. He handled the lesson and he ran it and stopped it somewhere. This lesson, it is immediately going to be more of practical. I want to teach you the practical part of it. Maybe the other time the teacher tried to explain, he tried to explain. This time I want to show you how some things can be done. Fabric decoration, as we looked at it the other time with the teacher, it is the patterning of a plain fabric. The patterning means designing, creating designs on a plain fabric. So patterning an essentially plain fabric with the designs to make it more beautiful. Yeah? That's why when you go to the shop looking for a shirt, a dress, or a skirt, you look for the one that is appealing. So that means some designs were put on it, and that's what attracts you to buy such a fabric. This is a lucrative business, and my dear students, during this season, you should engage yourself in patterning or creating designs on the fabric, so that you can even earn a living out of it. So we are going to look at fabric decoration, the practical part of it, and we shall keep on explaining. As we move on. This time, we are looking at the techniques or the methods we use in fabric decoration. The other time, I think the teacher explained them very well. We are looking at the methods, and sometimes such methods can be regarded as what? Okay. So you have the notes we have done. We have attached them, so you can keep on scrolling as we explain. So we are looking at different methods or techniques of decorating fabrics. The first one, we can look at stencil, the using of stencil. Another one, we can use block. Then another one, we can use photo, emulsion. Then another one, we can use stencil, screen. Then another one, we can have also what we call 5 monoprint. Then we can also have what we call graphic film. graphic film, graphic film. Graphic film. So these are some of the methods that we use. So I'm going to show you how some of these things are done. Let us begin with the stencil that you covered the other time. Now, when we are looking at the stencil printing, or all forms of printing that we are going to look at, the first thing that should come to your mind, how am I going to do it? Now, this is when you have to develop what we call a motif. A motif, it is that repeated part of design that is going to help you to administer design on the fabric. It is what you keep on repeating. So you start with one, then you keep on spreading all through the cloth, then you have a well-designed fabric. Following uh, following the good administration of what? Color. Now, we begin with this. I'm going to show you because the first. Let me begin with an assignment because I want you to design a motif and making it ready such that, inshallah, anytime when we tell you that you are reporting back, you come with it ready, and we start on the process of producing a practical work that we are supposed to hand in for your final assessment. Now, we begin with the source of inspiration. Let us begin with the topic. Think of the topic. Topic is printing. Then two, source of inspiration. Now, with the source of inspiration, think of any object. Think of any object. Now, remember when we were looking at drawing, there are some things where techniques that we looked at that can help you in drawing. One, you can look at an object. You can look at an object by observing it. It can be a butterfly, observe it, then you draw it on the paper. Then you can have memory. You can draw from memory. Maybe you looked at a design somewhere, then comes back to your mind, and then you draw it. That is two. We have looked at observation, then we have looked at observation. That was one. Then two, we have looked at memory, remembering a design, you looked at something, you looked at it. Then at the last one, because there are three: memory, observation, and then imagination. You can imagine, and then you start combining parts of objects. Then you create a design. So I'm giving an assignment of developing a motif, and it's what I'm explaining, so that next time when we meet at school, or we can even tell you that because of the escalation of such and such, because we are in the COVID season, we can even tell you from home that please make this assignment. We need it at school, or you can even upload it and we receive it. Yeah? So you get ready with this design. Now we begin with the source of inspiration. Source of inspiration, I'm saying you just pick any object of your interest and create a design. I'm showing you this. Like, for example, this one used a branch having flower, having a flower and having one leaf and then the stem or the small branch. Yeah? The hibiscus flower. So this one used it. You can use a fish, you can use a bird, you can use fruits, you can use any work of yours you have in your file for still life so that you develop the motif. So we begin like this, just drawing it live, or you imagine it and then you shade it. You can have even a magnetic composition where you can involve human figures and then you draw it properly. We can use this A4 size. This is called the A4 size paper. Then this can be, we call it source of inspiration. You can name it. This is a hibiscus branch. You can call it a fruit. You can call it fish. You can call it an animal. You can call it a bird. Yeah. I've got some samples here. For example, this colleague of ours used it. This one, yes, this one used the fruits. This one used the fruits. We are going to look at the next stages of developing a motif. So I take a note of that. Source of inspiration. Now, the second one that we should consider, after drawing, in drawing, source of inspiration, manage it by drawing. Draw the shapes. Then so you have observed, you have imagined, now you have drawn what you feel you need. Then the first stage should be re. You can rearrange the shapes to suit your interest. How do you want the design to look like? You can rearrange, making one part face the other side, so that even it helps you to fill the space. It helps you to fill the space. For example, look at this one. Look at this one, the way he started with the fruits scattered. Now, the second stage, he rearranged to suit the design he wants. This one rearranged. So you can see the other time the fruits were scattered. This time the student put them together the way he wanted them to look like. And this is the beginning of making a motif. Yeah? The way it will look like when printing it on the what? On the fabric. So the stage of rearranging comes there. So the third or the fifth stage. The fifth stage, after rearranging, transfer. The work we have rearranged, transfer to, we can call it graph paper. Transfer to the graph paper. Now, this graph paper will help you to map the work. It will help you to map the work so that the work can flow. I'm going to show you the work which was now you transfer the work to the graph paper as we are seeing it here. The same exact image that you developed here, rearrange the one you rearranged, transfer it to a graph paper. The graph paper has segments on it, so that it is going to help you make your design map. it will make the word design map. Whereby by mapping, it refers to the continuity you create on the design, such that the left-hand side, this is the left-hand side, can flow with the right-hand side. Then I will not say the southern, the the lower part, yeah, the lower part that it can flow with the upper part. When print, you see, when you look at a fabric with say butterflies, with flowers, you can imagine how, and you wonder how the artist managed to print all the work without not even seeing where the first design stopped and where the second design started from. That is a result of mapping, proper mapping of the work. As an artist, you must transfer the work. You must map the work. Let us put the word here, map. So, okay. So, let me briefly. So, as we said, the source of inspiration, it is here. Source of inspiration, you can see it there. That is a hibiscus plant. I think it is now very clear. It is now very clear. Then we used another example of a source of inspiration. This one collected variety of fruits. Okay, you can see the fruits drawn. Source of inspiration. Now we go to the second stage, the third. The other one was a topic. Okay, the third stage, draw the shapes. The shapes already they were drawn. Rearrange the shapes. So let us look at the shapes which were rearranged. Yes, the shapes which were rearranged, you can see. This was a hibiscus plant. The other one, the other time we saw it, it was just a drawing. It was a drawing, but this time we are seeing it multiplied, yeah, and facing different directions. So that one, that is rearranging. Now, the third level or the fifth level we are looking at, it is mapping. Mapping. With mapping, you get a graph paper. Transfer your transfer the work on a graph as you are seeing it. Transfer the work on a graph as you are seeing it. Now, how are you going to map the work? How are you going to map the work? You are going to map the work again by use of a tracing paper. Eh? Use a tracing paper, yeah, to transfer the sides. Use a tracing paper to transfer the sides. Let me show you. We are having this design, we are mapping it, and also we are having this tracing paper. Now, as I said, this graph paper has, can we call them segments? It has lines. So it is very, very important to follow those lines. For example, you can have a line drawn from up to down, maybe say on the right, on the left hand side. You can draw a line there, very straight line. You draw it there. And also you draw another line on somewhere there. Let us use this one. A line drawn somewhere there. You are seeing there is one here, and then there is another one here. So those two lines drawn are very important. Now, how do we use how do we use this tracing paper? You use this tracing paper by putting it on the line. Putting it on the line. Let me demonstrate it here. Yes, it's not clear. Your design is having this such an outline. Then also this side is almost like this. According to what you have, according to the shapes you are having, the shapes are created. So what you do, you draw a line here, and also you draw a line here. Okay? You draw a line there. These are the lines I mean. These are the lines I mean. Then you use this tracing paper. You use this tracing paper. For example, as you can see, you use this tracing paper and trace out this side. For example, you should only stop on this line. Say that it moves like this. So it moves like that. Meaning, this side, if you are to click it this side of the design, you just transfer it direct as it is. Just move it like this. And then you draw it on this side of what? The paper. Say that if this is a positive, this is a positive, this is its negative. Yeah? This is a negative, this is now its positive. Say that the design when printing will flow. Yeah? Then look at this side. We have it drawn like this. So what you do, again, put your tracing paper there. When tracing, only stop on this line. And we are interested on the way this line is flowing. So, for example, just draw it like this. Then like that. If it is going somewhere and it is like that, then meaning don't turn the paper. After drawing it, just take it on top of your design and partly cover part of the original design, partly cover it, and then start transferring that line as we have seen it. There, you are working on mapping the work so that you make the design flow. And if you do it carefully, no one will ever tell or you will ever see where the design started or where design. Even if you print something like 50 meters wide or long, people will wonder how did this person manage to print this, because they will not be able to notice where the design started from. And then that means if you map your design very well, it will create a flow. If this is the fabric we are printing, you'll find the design moving continuously to all sides. Even if you start printing from the middle, the design will flow to all the sides. So now, after mapping the work, transfer the design. Transfer the design, the mapped work, transfer it on a fresh paper. Transfer it on a fresh paper. Let us see whether this one has it. Transfer it on a fresh paper. Let me see this one. Transfer to a fresh paper the mapped work. Transfer the design on a fresh paper. one is not very clear, but you transfer the design, this design on a fresh paper, making it, don't leave out anything. Apart from, by the way, after mapping, for example, this line we have transferred up here. Whatever it has cut off, get a rubber, remove it. After transferring this side on the design, whatever it has left this side, just get a rubber, remove it, because this line is the last design. It is giving you the outline of the design. So from there, transfer the design on a fresh paper, and so you transfer to another paper, and then while we are transferring, we are going to look at 8, create positives and negatives. Create negatives and positives. How do we create such? How do you create negatives and positives? In other words, you segment the design. Now, on the design, the positive designs are the parts that you shade. You shade using pencil. The negative parts are the ones that remain. This one's not showing it very well. Let me explain it here. So the positives, we have transferred it on a fresh paper, aiming at achieving this. These are very tiny lines. These are very tiny lines. Now we can assume the lines, they are the positives. The spaces, after segmenting the design, the spaces, those are the what? Those are the negatives. Yeah. If I can enlarge it, if I'm making a design, if I'm making a design, for example, I have some images developed. Assuming this is what? This is a butterfly. It can continue this side. But now, create positives and negatives. Now this design, I find a way how I should segment it. For example, I can start doing it, segmenting it like that. Then like that, you segment the design. You segment the design. You segment, we are segmenting it. So we are segmenting the design. Okay? We are segmenting the design. Now, how do we create the positives and the negatives? How do we create the positives and negatives? The shaded parts we are going to see here are the positives. For example, you can shade here, then you shade here, then you shade here, then here, you can shade here, then you have a shading here. So we are creating the positives and the negatives. The shaded parts are the positives. The unshaded are the what? The negatives. So like that. So we are creating the positives and then the left out parts unshaded, they are the negatives. So it is that is create positives and negatives on the design. After that level, that means you have covered all your design. You can even segment these parts. You can even also segment them, so that they are easy. Now, why do we segment? Now we are going to look at the different techniques of printing. Why do we segment? If you don't segment, that means in case you are to cut out your design, the whole design will be moved out of the paper. So why we segment? It means where we have not shaded, that means we are not going to cut those areas. That's why we have segmented. That means we are not going to cut those areas. We are going to only remove out the shaded areas. So these are the positive areas. Now take a note. We're on the stencil. The shaded, no, on this paper we are creating positives and negatives. We have created the shaded are the positives, and the unshaded are the negatives. Now, after cutting the design, the ones that were the positives, this time they become holes. That means they are now the negatives. Then the unshaded on the stencil, they are going to become the positives. Let me show you this. Now we are having, I don't know whether it is clear. Yes, it is clear. As you can see, as you can see, now on that design, what you are seeing as the light areas, those were the positives originally, but after cutting them out of the stencil, now this is a stencil, plastic. We have transferred it. I was coming to that stage, but I was still explaining. So after creating positives and negatives, you can now transfer to the stencil. Transfer the design to the stencil. Transfer the design to the stencil. If you are to use stencil, then it comes out to look like this. It comes out to look like this. As you can see, the negatives and the positives. The negatives are the uncut this time. The positives are the ones. No. The negatives are the holes this time. Then the positives are the ones which are not cut. But that means that if we are to print, then now on this stencil, when we are printing, if we are using this stencil when we are printing, that means the negatives this time, the holes, when we transfer it, let me demonstrate a bit. Now, I have a plain paper. And my stencil. Let me see how it will work. We are saying so I'm trying to print here. I'm trying to print using this stencil. Okay, it has okay, you can see the result. You can see, don't look at the smudged areas, look at the areas that are accurate. Look at the areas that are accurate. Now, what we had as negatives here, when you print here again, and now it becomes the reverse, the positives. Okay, so that is it. What materials do we use for printing? We use printing paste. You can use any color so long as it is semi-liquid form, like a homogeneous substance. It can work. Or printing paste, it can work. So that is it. That is printing. Now, I want to have some demonstrations here. Now, that means after creating your positives and negatives, now we have the whole of this that we have been explaining takes us to making process of motif making. So the whole of all these stages are leading us to making what? The motif. Motif. As we are saying, motif, it is the repeated part on the design that is repeated several times on a surface to make an appealing design to look at or to suit our interest. So that is it. So the other time, the teacher, this is what he was explaining. Now, if you repeatedly print this design on this stencil, it will flow to all sides. If you're printing a cloth, then it comes out very well. In other words, this is the stencil printing. We have explained it now. This is stencil printing. So, my dear learners, the exercise which I'm giving you, it is to you should develop a motif for printing. The process, we have seen it. So please don't have any other excuse. You have the papers, you have everything, just to make yourself ready. You can even design like two, so that when we meet or when we instruct you, you choose on what to use. That is the best. So that is it, stencil printing. It is the most common method we use at school because it is cheap. It is cheap. It does not require a lot of expenditure or expenses because this is a stencil. If you are to get it, is at 200 shillings, something like that. Then the papers, you have them. Even you can, if you don't have A4 papers, you can even get papers which are ruled from your book and then use them to develop the motif. So that means this design we have made, it is what we are going to use in other methods of printing. This motif we have designed, it can be used in all other printings. So that is printing using a stencil. As I said that this is practical, let me explain what we call stencil screen printing. Stencil screen printing. We have our plain screen. We have our plain screen. Don't mind about this orange color. It just, we washed, but it failed to come out, to be removed. Don't mind about that. But that is a plain screen. Now, if we are to use the second, let me remove this. Let us look at stencil. Stencil screen. It is combining two things, the stencil and the screen. Now, as we have said, this is the screen. Now, we are going to combine two things. One, we get our stencil. We place it at the back of our screen. You place it at the back of the screen. That means you are combining a screen and then a stencil. So you place it at the back of the screen, and then you get a printing surface, it can be paper, and then you use it to print. But with this one, you have to use What I did not explain with the stencil, printing, you have to use things like a sponge. Use the sponge with the stencil printing. With this one alone on the fabric, don't use a squiggy. Use what? Use a sponge. Just get a little of it on the what? On your sponge, then you start stamping or you start pressing it on the surface like paper, and then or cloth. Then the color will be registered or administered on the printing surface. Now let us look at this. You can either do the following: either just holding this, then placing it on the printing surface, and then you get, this time we use what we call a squiggy. A squiggy, it is a rubber material like this one, like this one. This is a squiggy. Then that means in order to print a surface, you have a stencil behind, then you have a screen on top, then you put it on the printing surface, and then use this squig. You make it go through, or press it on the what? On the stencil, on the screen, whereby the color will move through, will pass it through. Yeah? This screen has very tiny holes. It will go through the screen, then through the cut stencil, and then it will reach the printing surface. So that is stencil screen printing. I'm very sure you have the summary, and we have uploaded it on what you can scroll and go and read and find out how it looks like. So that is it, stencil screen. You are combining two things. We have advantages, we have disadvantages. Okay, you must know those ones. Also, stencil printing has advantages and it has disadvantages. They are very clearly stated in our whatever we have given you there. So please make sure you read it carefully, and then you'll get to know how to do it. So that is stencil screen printing. Now the third. So this was second. The first one was stencil. The second one, it was the stencil screen. Now the third is photo emulsion. Photo emulsion, it is a very good method or technique when we are printing. Although you have to incur some costs or expenditure or expense on preparing the stencil, because there are some other materials that we need in order to prepare this stencil for photo emulsion. Photo emulsion, it is a fine suspension which is applied on the screen. Fine suspension. This is a screen as we saw it. It's a screen. So, photo emulsion, it is a fine suspension which is applied on the screen. It is applied on the screen so that it puts a coating layer. It puts a layer, and when you administer it on heat or on light, like as we are having sunlight today, just a few minutes, it makes it ready, and then from there you wash it with water. You can use a spray, and then the screen will open almost to look like this. Example I have here. The example which I have here for photo emulsion, it works in many ways. It can work on designing, creating a design like this one. Like this one. This one, you can transfer it. You can transfer it. You can transfer it, or no. Again, you can transfer it on the screen. You can transfer it on the screen using the technique of photo emulsion. Now, let us see how do we create photo emulsion. How do we create it? Now, you get a plain what? You get a screen. Then you get photo emulsion. I moved with a little here. You get photo emulsion, you get your plain screen, and then you yes, I think it is here. Then you make the emulsion. You smear it on the screen. You smear it on the screen and make sure that the whole screen is covered with this layer. It is covered with this layer of the emulsion. Yeah? Now, that is emulsion. Okay? We are preparing a screen. We are putting a layer of emulsion. This emulsion, it is light sensitive. It is a light sensitive material. It's a light sensitive material. So after covering the whole screen, you have to do it from indoor, not outdoor, because it is light sensitive. In fact, you need to do it from a darker room. Do it from a darker room, and then you do what? You make it ready. Let it dry from the. It needs something like 45 minutes to make it dry after spreading it on the screen.
Those concepts. Okay.
Check
how we see the images clearly.
Okay.
Then
the practical set.
How do we use a stencil?
Okay. We have Sebuyondo, Alex. Teacher, how do we use a stencil? I think maybe the time you asked it, we had not explained, but I think I have explained. I think I have explained lastly. I explained. Then we had Kibirige Amina. Teacher, we can't see the images clearly. I think we worked on that also. We realized it. Then lastly, we worked on that. So thank you for being in class, attending. Let us continue. Now, members, you have to make it dry from inside the room, possibly the darker room. Now, when it has dried, you get your stencil. You get your stencil again. This time, not the plus, not on the stencil, not this. No, you get your motif. You get your motif. Let me get one here. You get your motif. Okay, you get this motif. This motif which you designed, you get it. Okay, you get this motif. Now, you can use the same. You photocopy it on a tracing paper. Our photocopiers can again photocopy or the work on the photo on the what on that tracing paper. Or if not that, if you don't have access on a photocopier and a tracing paper, you can use petrol or paraffin. You can use paraffin or thinner and pour it on this paper. It will become transparent like a tracing paper. Then, or petroleum jelly. You smear it, this paper will become transparent. That means, because we need it to be also lighty, light should be going through it. Okay, that's why we use tracing paper or making this paper more transparent. Now, after we have assumed that your design, your photoemulsion is now already dry. So what you do, get this paper, which is get this, let me call it now a tracing paper. I did not move with it. Get this tracing paper. Well, after smearing, you can use a thinner. When you use a thinner, the worker will remain there, but the paper will become transparent. Then place it at the back of the screen. Place it at the back of the screen. Okay, you place it at the back of the screen. Then down here, inside, get any darker material. We can refer to it as a black book. You can get a black book. Okay, you can get a black book. Place it there. Okay, and then on top. Actually, I was talking about tracing paper. I have it here, though I used it for transferring the work. On top here, get a clear glass. Clear glass that is not tinted. Get a clear glass, place it on top of this design, then hold everything, hold it, then take it under sunshine. Just for count seconds, something like 7-8 seconds. If it is shining a lot, then 5 minutes, 5 seconds are just enough. The emulsion will have reacted. This stencil is having the positives and negatives. That means light will be able to go through the negatives. The positives, the shaded parts, will prevent the light to go through. That is the technique behind. Then, after those few seconds, just get it out of the sunshine. Then start removing everything you have used, and then from there, dip it in the basin of water, or just if you have a tap, just place it under the tap water, and then soak it. In other words, soak it. Now, from there, you can have a spray as a pump. We have these ones, the ones we hold with our hands. Can have that one, the one we use for spraying our animals at home. You use it, then force it, spray the screen so that the blocked areas will remain. The unblocked will open. So that's why we are having a design like this one. We are having a design like this one. Photoemulsion. This is a product of photoemulsion. Okay? This is a product of photoemulsion. That means the light areas you see were the blocked ones. Then the dark areas that remained were the ones that were not blocked. That means sunshine or light reacted with the emulsion. After washing, they became permanent. The ones that were blocked, that means they were the ones shaded with the darker color. That means those ones did not react, and during the spraying, when washing, they opened. So that is how we prepare the photo emulsion stencil. Think it is a bit clear. I will not tell you that you do this at home. No, the process is long. Even some materials, you will not do it. Just understand it for our purposes of learning. Okay. When we are, how do we print using this photo emulsion stencil? Now this is a screen for photo emulsion. How do we use it for printing? It's very clear, like the way we print using a stencil. But this time, when printing, we use a squiggy. A squiggy, I give an example of this. This is a squiggy. Okay, this is a squiggy. This is a squiggy, as you can see, just something rubber material. You can even cut your sand or slipper at home. Yeah, you can cut it. Oh, they used one anyway. They used one. You cut it, you get a squiggy rubber material like this one. It is what we use when we are working, when we are using this square. So how do we use it? Now we have our photoemulsion screen with the photoemulsion. Just lay your cloth on the part. I think the whole process has been shown there. Just lay it on the, get a fabric you're working on, then place this one on top, then load the color on this screen, then let it go through, then as you're printing. But warning, do not over print it on the surface because the color down there will smudge if you overdo it. Just one print, one movement is enough to make a print. And it will be just very fine lines. So that is printing using photoemulsion. It has merits, it has also the disadvantages. I think in our notes it is showing it very well. So as I said, I wanted this to be a practical as we are winding up printing. So members, that is the practical part of photoemulsion. When we come back to school, inshallah, we shall be showing you this emulsion and how to do it, and possibly we can produce, since we have practical projects we are supposed to work on it, we can do it in class. Then another technique of printing that we should look at, it is the I4. It is block. Block printing. Block printing, this is a technique where you get a block. A block can be wooden, a block can be plastic, a block can be anything. So long as you can have ways of cutting designs on it, and then you put color on it, and then you print a given surface. Originally, block printing was lino block. Lino block, it is something rubber material. I don't have it here. It is rubber material, but you do what? It is rubber material. It is rubber material. This time I wanted to demonstrate with a block which I managed to get, a piece of soap. Okay, I wanted to use it as our block, and we see whether it is practical. Now get a design. Get a design, any suitable design, like the way we developed our motif. Get a design. Now, cut design. Transfer the design on this block. Transfer the design on this block. Members, it is like the way people create stamps. The way people create stamps. When you move on the streets, Kampala there, you find there people very, very busy preparing stamps. Now, this is our block. We cut our design on here. By cutting this, first one I say create a design here, transfer it. Now you get a cutting tool. Here I have my cutter. Okay, I have my cutter. I want to create a small design here. Already there are some words here. We can base on them because they are already there. They are already there cut. But we can also try to create ours, then we shall test. Let me say, I'll not cut a very, let me see. I don't know whether you're seeing me. Okay. Let me see how I can cut. I remove that part. Then this part also removed. And this one also. Just I'm cutting a simple design. Just something simple for our demonstration. We are experimenting block printing. Now, after cutting your design, you are going to see, then you get color. Get color, apply it on the design. Get color, apply it on the surface of the block, and then get a plain paper. Get a plain paper. Let us see. Get a plain paper, and then you just stamp. Just stamp. Wow. You see? It's not very clear, but at least you can see some image I was trying to cut. Let us use the engravings we are seeing on the soap here, and we'll see whether it will work. The surface is not all that leveled. The surface is not, it needs to have a leveled surface. So that is how you have to print. You cut a design on a piece of material, then you print. Here I was using soap, but the surface is not all that well leveled, and even the soap is not leveled properly. Some features will not come out well, but that is the process. So you print by pressing on a surface. After printing, the image is already there. How do you transfer color on this material printing? What we termed as what? What we termed as a block. You can use a roller. You can use any other material. But what is important, don't carry a lot of color on it. So that is the block printing. Then we have another one. We have another one. It is called graphic film. Graphic film, it is a material. It has two layers. Graphic film has two layers. It has the layer of a thin paper, and it has a layer of plastic material. So the two layers. Take an example of a sticker. I'm not saying that a sticker is a graphic film, but it looks similarly like that. So what is important, you get your design, the motif as we described it, get your motif, as we saw it. You get your motif as we saw it. And then from there, transfer. No, this side don't transfer. Just attach the motif to the graphic film on the side of the plastic side, the plastic side. And then you start gently, you start cutting out the positives, the shaded areas. Then after shading, after cutting the shaded areas, then you get a screen. After cutting the design, you get a screen. Then on the screen, you can use a thinner. You can use a thinner or petrol, put it on the screen, then place the cut design on it. The film will react. The film will react with the thinner or the paraffin or petrol you have put here, and it will get stuck on it. And then from there, gently remove the paper material from it. Other areas, you can use masking tape to cover them. So that means the film has become part of the stencil, of the screen. And then you print. You can print using the squiggy. And then the process of printing is almost similar to that of photoemulsion. That is the process. Then from there, you do it. But members, take a note. Every stage of printing should be ironing. The last stage should always be ironing the fabric. Now, members, the last stage, the last technique I want to explain here, it is a monoprint. We have what we call monoprint. Monoprint is where you get any suitable object, any desired object, so long as it has interesting design or patterns, and then you use it for printing. Just for example, you can get a leaf. You get a leaf, then you use it for printing in a given surface. It can be your shirt, can be your textbook, your black book. Then you print a pattern there using any desired design. Some of which you pick it from nature, others you can make it. It is almost similar to block printing. But this time we are saying get any desired object with it. Good design, or some design is you can even transform it, and then you put. Now I came with this one. This is a leaf. We can use it for monoprinting. Just a matter of getting one leaf, then look at its designs, the veins, then you apply color on this leaf. Gently, don't put a lot, just because we are interested that the patterns that are going to be created by the veins. So what you do, you put a little color here, not a lot, just a little. We are interested at the veins. Then you use it, use that image, use that object, then placing it on the given surface, and then pressing it gently so that you get the desired designs from the object you want to do what to design. So members, every kind of design we are looking at, it has merits and it has advantages and disadvantages. I'm very sure the work we have uploaded there, it is showing everything that is very, very important during fabric decoration. Now, members, for fabric decoration, I want to say that that is enough. But what is important? The exercise which I have given you, take it as important. It is very, very important for your learning and for your assessment. We need it, actually. We need it. As you know, the time of doing work is not there. Some of the work, try to do it at home. And also, try to be practical. Try to be practical. Some of the things you have them at home. You have kettles, you have saucepans, you have cups, you have things like that. So please try, you can create a composition. Instead of eating a pineapple, first you draw it. Instead of instead of draw instead of when you have a fish, when the daddy or mommy has bought a fish, first request for you to use it in your drawing. Look at it carefully, look at it, then you draw it. Because all those objects are for our learning purpose. So please do that. Make yourself as practical as possible. Now, the second session of our presentation here, after looking at it, we have different ways of fabric decoration. I'm not going to introduce that one now because we have tie and dye. It's also a topic on its own. We have batiking. It's also a topic on its own. We have thread work, what we call embroidery. It is also a topic. I will not introduce that now. So my humble request is to go through to give you some more exercises. I've given you concerning one concerning what designing a motif. Now our remaining minutes, we are going to look at a bit of graphics. Just giving you work in graphics and possibly giving you work in imaginative composition and maybe encouraging you. I've already encouraged you to do some work in still life and nature, because as an artist, as an upcoming artist, you must not relax. Every time you relax, you spend a day without doing any work, then there's a way you decline in your ability to draw. So we are going to look at graphics and also imaginative composition, just giving you some work. Now, in graphics, I want us to learn how to design a magazine. Magazine cover. Magazines, we enjoy reading them. This is a news, some kind of newsletter. News. Magazine is also part of news, or newsletter or news. So, how do we design its cover? It's very important for our learners so that you know how to design it. Begin with the dimensions. Begin with the dimensions, knowing the dimensions and how to interpret them. So we can say in a space 15 centimeters by this multiplication sign, it is by can say 22. So as a learner, you must now start. You can measure 15 like that. Then this is for one side. Then also that means another side is going to measure 15. Then downward we have 20. We measure 20. That means also here we are going to measure 20. Then we close. So we have a line here. What is important when you are looking at a magazine? like the way when you're looking at a book cover, the side of your right hand side, it is always the front. This is the front side. And then on your left, it is the back side. So as a learner, you must know the content, the information to be placed on the front and the information to be placed on the back. Where the difference comes between the magazine cover and the book cover, we rarely find a magazine with a spine. This middle part is always called a spine. But in many magazines, they are not big volume. Why a textbook has the spine? Because the volume is very big. But magazines, they are not all that very big books. They have few pages. Therefore, though you find some magazines which are big and they have a small spine, but with a magazine generally, we don't need anything much there. So this is the format for designing a magazine. Now let us see what information is supposed to be placed on the two sides. Now let us begin with the front. Normally when you look at the magazine, it has the front. On the front, it has what you call volume number, then issue number. This one, let us not put number. Volume, then issue number, then it has month, then it has year, month and year, then it has price. Magazines are not for free. It has price. Then it has another major thing. It's in title. Yeah? Title. And sometimes it has the title. Sometimes can be a name. What we normally look for name of magazine. So the important thing is now learning how to place those things in our magazine. Then it has sub titles. It has subtitles. Now what is important? Then it has lastly advertisement. So it has those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it has those parts. Volume. The volume, the issue number, the month and the year, and the price. Now these ones here. They must be written when they are small, but well written. Whereby, of course, you must be careful so that you balance everything and it looks nice. So you can say volume. Volume should be written when it is volume. Volume what? Volume 102. That means from the time this magazine is coming out, it is the volume 102. That means we have had many volumes coming out. Then we have issue number. Also should not be outstanding, but it should be there. Issue number. Also, we can say this is the issue number over 72. Over issue number 5. Issue number 5. It is also important to place it there. Then 6. It's not big. Then the price. Price, you can even start with it up here. Or you can bring price down here, depending on the artist or the way you design. Then price, you can say 25,000. Sometimes they say, sometimes they say K, or they say Uganda shillings. Uganda shillings. Or Kenya shillings. Yeah? Now, title, that's the main concern now. Should be bold, big, and readable. The title. So you say, this time let us begin with the name, title and the name. They move together and let us find the name of normally magazines have names. We have African Woman, the Bride. We have the Bride. It's very common. The Bride. This bride should be bold, because it is the name of the magazine. Then the bride, it is the name at the same time. Should we call it the title? Bride. Then you can be in capital or you can design it in any way you want. Now we get some subtitles. Subtitles, they are those that you can make them when they are, at least you pick one, the major story you want the magazine to carry. It can follow and you make it be. For example, what is story? Yeah? Afghani refugees arrive. Yeah? And then one of the subtitles, you say Afghani. We mean the size should not be more than the bride, because the bride, it is the name of the magazine. Then Afghani, spelling Afghani refugees arrive. Then other subtitles, you can think of one in sports. Yeah? Sports, Arsenal. What are the achievements of Arsenal? Arsenal beaten. Yeah? Arsenal. Then you can say in politics, what is title the readers interested in to look at. Then you say, Honorable Prime Minister Nabanja, money. Yeah? Then the other subtitles. So you go to the back cover. Back cover, we only need an advert there. Big companies sponsor magazines. So you can say Coca-Cola. Then, and its illustration maybe of a new type of drink they want people to get aware that it's on the market. So that is the content of the magazine. So we have a few minutes remaining. So members, I want you to, I don't know whether I should write it here. Let me write it here, and then maybe you copy it down, and then it is as an exercise. You should also you should engage yourself in doing. We have space 24, but you don't have 24. These measurements, they are big because they need big papers. Let me use to 16 centimeters times 22. That is the spec. Design a cover for a magazine title on name. Dangers of politics. Dangers of politics. We can even change the name. We can change the name. Then we have volume 34. Issue number. We have 15. Then month. Let us talk of month October 2025. Then price, let us have emitwalo esatu mu enkumi bbiri. Uganda shillings. Color, not more than 3. So, dear students, try to do that practical work also. It will help you. But remember, you have to use very good letters, very good colors. Make sure that the colors are they are not matching. Colors should not cover the work. The work should come out whenever the thing you are intending to show us is clear. So try to do that work. Then our learners in imaginative composition. Also, I have a package that should make you busy. One, it was too much for them. What was too much for them? Then as a learner, try, because this is imaginative composition, and I don't want to corrupt your mind, but what you remember the trick of coming up with big images, avoid the tiny ones. Remember the style of exaggerating some parts. Remember that artwork, you were very good in my learners, you are very good in this area. So it was too much for them. What was too much? Think about that. Then also, let us see. 2, I realized it was a dream. What is that? Maybe they have prepared a very good meal, and the time you want to start eating, you're waking up to start eating, then you wake up. What? Then you realize, oh, it was a dream. And then you go missing that meal. So I realized it was a dream. Maybe you are up country walking with friends, whatever. We were in the village going for hunting. You are watching a football match, but finally, you realize it was a dream. What was that? I want you to think about those two topics. Come up with very good sketches. Imaginative composition, you begin with good sketching, and then from there you have the colors. Try to do some work. So, members, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for attending the lesson You have been wonderful students. In a reaction.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You have been good learners, good listeners, good whatever. Thank you for attending and sparing your time. Next time we shall begin with the more parts of fabric decoration, but this time tie and dye and the batiking, the work. That's what we shall have. Thank you for attending. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.